I guess it's been a long time. I mean, there's a little bit of dust in the attic.
Are you just saying I'm really terrible at this right now? That's true. That's real true.
I was kind of curious, like, because you're like an early riser, and when you travel, when you go places, sometimes you're stuck on the old stream. So I'm kind of curious, like local time, like you must wake up at like 2.
No. So I stayed up with M Blue for a while last night, and then we did so much crazy stuff yesterday that I didn't get to sleep till probably midnight Central, which is like 1:00 Eastern Standard Time. And so, like, ordinarily I wake up at 5 on the coast, and so I figured if I wake up at 6 here, that's all right. And I was like dragging ass. I still am. It's like, yeah, it's terrible. But I've only had one coffee though too, so let me rectify that. We're dipping into number 2, and we'll get things on the road.
Get it in.
Timmy Hose.
Shameless plug for Timmy Hose.
Yeah. I feel like that's a proxy for a shameless plug for Canada at this point.
Yeah.
The Canadian anthem right now. Like, I sort of feel like we're gonna have to sing that song. And
you want it?
Oh,
really. Okay.
Oh, someone's gonna play hockey soon and stuff.
That's right. Score.
Right.
All
right. So Jimmy, I mean, it's Media Moguls today.
Yeah.
And like Terry's everywhere, so I think that fits.
Yeah, well, he is everywhere. He's on Weekend, he's on Ultra Rare, he's over on the Horrors, he's with Our Planet. Like, you really like you're pretty much as many places as me, and like I know how hectic that could be. So I just wanted some camaraderie,
Yeah. No doubt.
So yeah, you've been in the game for a while, and I just thought, we've had you on a couple times, but we've never actually, dove deep into the world of Terry Crews. And I know there's a lot under that beard, so I just want to, cut to it and find out, what the secret sauce is that makes it grow so quickly. I'm hoping he froze, because it's right? A hard stop. So yeah.
So what makes my beard grow? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah. What tickles your chin?
What tickles your chin? I feel like there's so many ways that could go wrong.
No, I think like you've been in the space for a really long time, and I asked you, what you were doing in the Telegram, because I knew what you were doing, and I found out that you're doing a lot of stuff that I was not really aware of, and one of the reasons that I was kind of surprised was I didn't even actually know that you were part of the Ultra Rare crew. Like, I knew about the Weekend, I knew about the Our Planet, like that kind of stuff. And so I just wanted to check and ask you, what are you doing? And you basically said, I'm doing community management, social engagement, research, design. I said, okay, great. Like, what should I? That's cool. I'll put that in the descriptor. And right away, you commented, oh, and don't forget, I'm an expert beard grower. So I think,
that's just real science right there.
Yeah, it's solid. So yeah, I just kind of want people to know who you are, because you're in the business of connecting communities and working for all these projects and doing all these cool things. And I don't even really know that much about you, if I'm 100% honest. So who is Terry Crews, and how did he get a start? How did he get into blockchain? How did he get into wax? How did he get into NFTs? How did you get here?
And frozen.
It's a good freeze.
It's a really good freeze, actually. It's almost almost beatific, right? Like, just like, I am a saint with a beautiful beard and smile.
Oh no, we drove him away. Too many beard jokes.
Has to maintain his mystery.
No, fair enough.
There he is.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Trigger happy.
Yeah. You asked me the question and then it froze. I couldn't even get an answer.
No, it was a beautiful freeze.
And then that happened as well. All right, well, and another like just epic freeze. I mean, if you're gonna freeze, look like Santa Claus when you do it.
This is where those ventriloquist skills would have come in really handy.
Right. Yep. Yeah. Why did we just skip those days at clown school, Jimmy? Like, why?
I don't know.
Should we do some grats or what?
Yeah, let's do that. You're gonna want me to pull my stuff up, or you want to do it?
Okay. Yeah, if you could do it, that'd be good. I still haven't really tested that whole thing. I really should, because this computer's gonna be able to handle it. I just haven't done it yet.
Is it on you guys, the error, or is it on me?
Definitely you.
Definitely me?
Yeah, because we're both pretty good right now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll change my my position then.
If Corey was at home, we could easily blame it on him.
You could.
He's not. So.
I thought somebody immediately blamed it on Corey. So.
Shit.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's try that.
Let's try this. Put some light in. Oh, no, not that much light. Anyways, yeah. So, Canadian boy, live in Ontario.
You do. I didn't know that. I'm from Ontario.
Yeah, I'm up northwestern Ontario.
I went to school in northwestern Ontario.
Did you go to Lakehead?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that's my hometown.
Nice. Maybe
Small
we crossed
world.
paths.
We can share some tidbits later.
Now I know two famous people from Thunder Bay.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You know some hockey players too?
No, I don't hang out with hockey players.
Yeah, the Stall boys, all the Stall boys are from Thunder Bay. Anyways, away from that, I am, let's see. Well, I'm as you can tell by the gray in my beard, I'm well past the young age. I am now getting into my older years. So yeah, I've experienced a lot of life. I've been around the world. I traveled to work in hospitality, so I have a lot of experience that is useful in this space with community management and just working under weird hours and weird schedules, which I have to do, right? With working with the WeCan team, they're out of the Ukraine, and John and Richie from Ultra Rare, they're out of England. I've worked and talked with a couple guys out of Australia as well. So the girlfriend doesn't like it very much that I'm always have the phone or the computer nearby, but you know what? It's rewarding. It's rewarding to me as as a person, but then also financially, it's been great. It's been very helpful. So she doesn't mind that way because she gets to do her Amazon shopping and I get to play online, right? What else? Yeah, I'm a man of many trades, I guess. I have a social work background. I have a painter's background. Like I said, worked in hospitality, managing bars and restaurants all across Canada, a little bit in Australia. And yeah, I moved back home to Thunder Bay a few years ago, be close with my family and spend some time here. And that led me into, getting injured on the job and then having to work from home. So I started up an eBay store doing resale and stuff. So I would go out and hit up thrift stores and garage sales and online auctions and buy stuff cheap and sell it high, just like we would do with NFTs.
My friend used to live on the corner of Oliver and High in Thunder Bay. That was a great corner. He had a hot tub in his loft, and he used to stare out at the sleeping giant. It was great.
Yeah, you'd have a good view of the sleeping giant from there. I've taken some pictures sometimes to show people in some of the groups, and I don't think you can really capture it in a picture, from your car or wherever. Like, it's just pretty awesome. It looks like a sleeping giant, like a big island out in the lake. Looks like a sleeping giant, like a chief. It looks like he's got a big headdress with his arms crossed and he's laid back. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's aptly named for sure. Like, not like those turtles you used to get when they were kids that didn't look like turtles at all. Right?
Zestra, I've watched too much Letterkenny. Great day in Thunder Bay. Never too much Letterkenny. I have to side with Zestra on this. You cannot watch too much Letterkenny. Letterkenny is actually the only reason I've ever liked Ontario for anything. So well, okay, that's a lie because I love both of you guys. So that's 3 things from Ontario now that don't suck.
Yeah, it's good for me because like I think I told people this before, but that show, the person who produced that show, wrote that show, was from my hometown. So it's like,
really?
It's loosely based on my hometown, which is pretty funny because I haven't been there in like a couple of decades. But like my brother, he's pretty smart. He lived in Costa Rica designing like an eco resort for a while. Like he, is pretty smart in school and sciences and stuff. But when I go back, he talks like the Letterkenny guys, and I'm like, it doesn't shine.
You don't realize it when you're in it as much, and then you go away and you come back and you go back things. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Right. Thunder Bay though is a really cool city. I like it, right? Like Paul Schaefer's from Thunder Bay.
Paul Schaefer's from Thunder Bay, yeah.
Yeah, and like, which is really amazing, right? Like, I went it all the way to Thunder Bay to be David Letterman's right hand man. There's a lot of letters floating around today. But yeah, like Thunder Bay is a cool city. Like I'm kind of curious as to how you found crypto in Thunder Bay, right? Like it's hard enough to find crypto it's hard enough to find crypto just about anywhere, but like in the sticks, right? Like,
Well, we're not that boondock, like we got 100,000 people here. We have the internet. We live in houses.
Barely.
Well, I know, but Thunder Bay is like half of what every other city can produce. Because Thunder Bay is really interesting. It actually has 2 downtowns that are essentially divided by the university.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's really cool.
It actually used to be 2 cities called Fort William and Port Arthur. And in the early 70s, they combined to make it Thunder Bay.
Yeah. Because they're quite diversified. They're quite diversified, like areas too, like quite different.
Well, it's been connected now by an intercity area. Once all the box stores come in and stuff like that. But the downtown cores, they still have their appeal, right? So how did I get into crypto? Well, when I moved back home in 2013, 2014, I had a good friend. He was in crypto and he was into Bitcoin, and he was trying to get me into it. But at the time, I was sober and up. I was tired of living the crazy life I was as a restaurateur, and I didn't have the mindset to get into crypto and Bitcoin and take that on at the time. So a few years later, the same friend, we were playing on these apps, right? The like the Topps Collect Marvel app, the Topps Star Wars one, Quid, and we would collect these things and trade them, superhero cards and figures and stuff. And we both said to each other, like, he's been working on me with freaking crypto and blockchain and that at this point. And we both said, wouldn't it be fucking awesome to have these where we could, it had a serial number and you could save it and you could put it on to, like one of these little USBs and, take it around and, like whatever, right? Or have it on an app on your phone. Well, 3 months later, Topps announces their GPK launch on Wax, right? So I was like, holy shit, I call him up. I'm like, yo, T, man, this is happening. Remember, we just made this happen, like, by talking about it. And we both got pretty stoked. And from that point on, right, like I was living at home, I was working from home, working on my eBay store, and the COVID hit, and I was at home and on the computer, and I just really dove into it. Dove into the Wax community first, really got into everything going on with Wax and Topps, and dove in with Joel and Travis into the Blockchain Heroes when they first came out, right? Because there wasn't much going on, and it was really cool at the time to see the space evolve. And you know, it was like that first year, last year there, it took maybe 6 months, 7 months for things to get moving, right? And everybody was like, oh, once the council gets announced and da 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 da, and then it got announced and the coin went down, right? We went from 3 cents to 8 cents, and everybody was like, to the moon when GPP launched. And then the council got announced, and we're like, okay, you know, Microsoft, Magic Leap, you know, Anamonica, you know, whatever, Google, like all these things, and the coin went down, and everybody was like, jump ship. But at that point, I had already made some good friends in the community, and you know, we just kind of hunkered down. One of the and dove into it. One of those good friends is another Canadian, Burst of Energy. You guys probably know him from the chats. He's got a group of guys out of Calgary, and I was lucky enough to get in with them and get involved in a group that we started up called the Atomy Kings. And you know, like through the COVID and through all the shit going on in crypto and all the uncertainties in that, you know, having a community like that, you know, like I consider these guys friends, like real friends, right? And there's other guys from all over the world too, you know. Baka's a great friend of mine, and he's in California, and we never really met. Like, we've talked on Zoom and stuff, but you know, it was the crypto space, NFTs, and it was such a blessing going through all that stuff, right? All that uncertainty last year, and meeting these great guys and like-minded guys. So we all kind of dove in and you know, kind of now, you know, fight for the space to stay, you know, decentralized, to stay fair, and, you know, integrity and stuff like that. So
I haven't really met most of my best friends.
No.
Like, I'm not actually making a joke. I'm being 100% serious, because like what you said there resonates with me a lot, right? Like I had some friends, but then, you know, whether it's you go down the rabbit hole and you diverge in different ways, but like my friends, like the people that I really resonate with are the people that I met like online in this space, Corey and other people, you know, like and Blue, like you know, the guys from Generios, the people I work closely with. Like it's weird that way when you realize that you have more online friends than real world friends.
Well, and I mean, Jimmy and I have been working together every day for what feels like 2 years. It's only been about 6 months.
I know, it's crazy,
right? And 2 good years. Don't get me wrong. It's not like, oh my God, I got to work with you. No, it's been really, really amazing, and it has been since the jump. And like the same with M Blue, right? Like we've been working together for about maybe 7 months, and you know, the first time I've ever been in the same room with a guy was a couple days ago, and it's surreal as hell.
For sure,
it really is. But awesome.
I think though, like Jimmy, like you were saying, like your real friends, like I would still call Corey and M Blue your real friends, right? Like just because you haven't met them in real life, they're not, you know, like this is meeting each other now, right? This is the world that we're moving towards, and you know, what is going to be real life later? It's going to be in the metaverse. It's going to be in the uplift, and your avatars.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, I haven't met my real friends. Like, I've never actually met my real friends. Like, I met friends, but like my real friends, I've never met them. It's weird,
They're
right?
real.
It's definitely you know, a unique and changing time for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. So I know what you mean though. Like when you sorry, go ahead.
The first time I saw you two guys, like Corey, you were saying, you know, you guys, you know, just met, been working together for 6-7 months. The first time I saw you guys on a video, it was honestly like you guys were, you know, like old chaps, like, you know, like just spitballing back and forth, having a good laugh, you know, informing everybody. And I think like for the next 2 weeks after that, I watched you guys every morning because it was just a good way to start my day. It was like 8 o'clock for me at the time. I think it was the middle of winter, and you know, it was great. I really enjoyed it.
That's cool.
Yeah, thanks for that. We get that a lot. Like we've had some people that have been like we've had some people that have been like, you guys should like stream like at better times. And I was kind of like, you know what? Like, I kind of like being the morning show in a way, right?
That's true.
Yeah, you know what? I love mornings. There's something about it, right? The world's still calm. There's not as much crazy vibrations and energies going around. I get up early. I get up at 5 o'clock. I take my dogs out. I come back in, make a coffee. I take my other dog out because she can't get up the stairs. I take her out, feed the dogs, water the lawn, water the gardens, pray in the yard, meditate, when it's just still peaceful and the only thing you hear is birds chirping. Like that's the way I want to start my day every day, man. Like, so, and you're never going to please everybody, right? Why don't you guys go on different times? Like, it's like, man, the space is 24/7 and worldwide. Like, it's going to be somebody's bedtime sometime. Like you can't appease everybody, right?
Yeah. I connected with somebody last night and it was funny, and I said to them, yeah, I'll figure something out tomorrow when I get home from my real world job, because I still do work a bit in the real world. It's becoming less and less and less. But the guy was like, seriously? And I'm like, what do you mean? It's like you work at real world job? Like, I don't see how that's possible. You were always on stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Corey and I, like, we've almost reached like Truman capacity on this channel, I think. Right? Like we've got Jen on there, we've got a few other people on there. Like, I woke up this morning, I was driving to work, I got to check my YouTube for like, a couple updates on the crypto market. On like the top of the stream, it's like Corey, who was like interviewing somebody else while I was asleep. I'm just like, okay, like, guess we're watching that one, right? Like, it's pretty crazy. And like you say, like, there's people all over the world, right? Like that are involved in this. And like when you're involved, in North America, Europe, and Australasia, like, when do you sleep? It's not, right?
Yeah, like with our Fox too. I'm heavily involved with that community and those guys, what they're doing. And, they're in Vietnam, right? That's where Benny's located out of, the main base is. And, since when they first launched the first product, he was up doing a Discord call that still goes on to this day, but was doing it every morning at 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whatever it was. For us, it was nighttime for him, but it was a time where everybody was awake and he was in there every morning. Like, that's how you build a community. That's how you build a successful product, a successful business, right? You, like, from working in restaurants, everybody that works in a restaurant one day thinks, oh, I could open a restaurant, it's super easy. I used to serve, or I used to cook on a line. But you can't if you're not going to give it 110%. Like, you guys know with the uplift, right? Like, you have to eat, breathe, sleep this shit. Like, if you don't, it's not going to be successful. You have to put everything you have into it and then some. Yeah,
I mean, the only thing I'm looking forward to is sleep after the bear market kicks in.
Don't hold your breath.
Is there thunderstorms in the uplift, Corey?
It does happen.
I mean, this is a pretty big one, then.
Could be. Weather happens, man. Weather happens.
I've never seen a thunderstorm in the uplift. That's the first.
Is that thunderstorming, or is that just the color going in and
out? I don't know. Let me adjust the bunny ears and find out. Oh, we're going to fill this sucker up. All right. That's cool. All right. Who wants to go first? You want to go? You want to put a gratitude up there, Terry?
Sure. I think I'll stick with where I was just going. I'm grateful for mornings, for peaceful mornings. Like, even I was just out watering the gardens, and your mind, because you're doing something monotonous, my mind is free to flow and to think of, okay, where's my day going to go? And I can plan out what I'm going to do, and, hopefully make a note of it so I don't forget. Oh, Anders, I love you too.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for the nostalgia of Corey Cottrell and Jimmy D. Like Corey said, it's been a few months, but uh-oh.
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 What
I've
happened?
never done this before, Corey.
What's going on?
We got to build a new monument.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
There you go. You can actually just if you the middle clicker button on your mouse, if you have a mouse,
yep.
You can just click on the wood and it'll give you wood. That's what she said, I guess.
Hey.
Sorry,
oh, I don't. Yeah. Okay. Never mind. Oh.
How's it going in there? By the way, I haven't been in there in a long time.
In the uplift?
Yeah.
Corey?
Man, I haven't either. Like that's like I haven't had any time to play for a while. Like honestly, like I would ask Andrews.
Yeah, you were just away for a bit, eh?
Yeah, I was down hanging out on a boat, eh?
Oh yeah, down in the Keys, eh?
Down in the Keys on the islands, eh? Yeah, no, it was great. And then like I was in Miami for 12 hours and turned around and flew out to Texas so I could be with the legend people and hang out.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, it's really good. It's quite good. It's quite good.
Yeah, I can't wait till I can, like me and the boys, the Atomic Kings, we were talking about a get together this summer, camping trip out in northern Manitoba or Ontario somewhere. And I'd love to go see Baca one day in California. I might actually even have a trip planned to the Ukraine to go see the weekend team for a staff party.
That's awesome. Cool. Yeah, I was talking to Nazar about that staff party. It doesn't sound like a staff party. It sounds like a party.
You should come.
I mean, I feel like you're threatening me with a good time, dude. Like I've never been to the Ukraine. That sounds excellent.
I've never either, and I never thought I wanted to, but as soon as it was on the table, I was like, yeah, I want to. I definitely want to.
Right? Like, okay. That sounds fun.
Yeah, it should be good times. Me and Bonds are going to go.
Oh, Jesus. You're in trouble.
Yeah, do it up, Buttercup.
I mean, just make sure that you, find an identifying mark so that when his hair is down and he's wearing a dress, he's not the one you want to kiss.
Dude, have you seen those gifts, though? He looks hot in a dress.
I mean, that's just real. That's a real thing.
It is. I love it.
His face fits on every single GIF you wanted to put it on. It's unreal.
It's super weird, man. It's super weird.
My favorite one is actually the baby or the kid with the weird, with the weird tooth laugh, one. Yeah. That's pretty good. So, Corey, what are you grateful for?
Airplanes.
RE planes.
Are you going to sing a song for us now? Sing Airplanes by Chili Peppers.
I will not.
Airplanes?
Yeah, just airplanes. I'm grateful for airplanes, man. It's the sort of, it's just, we take for granted, I think, or like I sometimes do. And then every once in a while it kind of hits me in the face that we're flying around in these,
for sure.
technological wonders. And I think I'm, paying really close attention to what SpaceX is doing with the starships and BFR or whatever. And, the months ago they were crashing, trying to land. They finally land one, and they're already building a much bigger one. And it's going the way that the production line has kind of gone for SpaceX over the last 10 years. And it really means that in 10 years, we might be as casually flying to space, which was, my dream from when I was freaking 4 years old.
Sure. Yeah.
Getting up at 5 a.m. to watch the space shuttle take off, So it's just, and it's the technological sort of lift is really similar. And so, yeah, it just, the fact that I got to, go on holidays and kind of fly around so that we could get everything in. And then, literally 12 hours later, I get a call from MBlue and It's like, hey, can you come out here? I'm like, yeah, fuck it, sure. Let's rock and roll. I'm like booking it right then and there, and then it just makes it happen. So, that and can I do another one, Jimmy?
Yeah, of course.
I am grateful for vaccines and science. Talked to a bunch of people over the last couple of days that globally that are starting to get access to it. And really, what that means ultimately is that we can, things are opening up, and it's really, really awesome to see. Without those vaccines, it's very, very likely would have seen like between 10 and 100 times as many dead people from this disease, and that's a non-trivial thing. We just saved 100 million lives by having the technological capability of actually handling this. So. It's pretty cool. Cowie was saying him and his wife got the first jab today. So
yeah, he told me that. We still haven't really gotten ours here yet. We're kind of I guess the universities are going to start giving them out in a couple weeks, maybe.
Yeah.
But they haven't went quite public yet. So.
Yeah, they started rolling them out here a while ago. I think most people. They went with first responders and then the elderly and worked their way down kind of thing. And I think most people over 40 now are double stabbed.
That's good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how the world returns to some sense of normalcy.
Yeah, I agree.
It's weird for me, right? Like, kind of going back to where this all started. It's like some things I probably wouldn't have done without the Rona, right? Like, I probably wouldn't have been able to dedicate as much time as what I did to certain aspects of my life on the show and other things, and or I wouldn't have made time for it, and that would have been kind of a shame. In a way,
sure.
Right? But at the same time, it's like now I want to be like Terry, and I want to, or like you, Corey, as well, but just be able to get on a plane. Now, I don't really want to go back to the real world. I want that. I want that freedom to be able to just be like, hey, screw this. I'm not calling in today. I'm just going to sit beside you on the sofa and do that show there. It's weird. I actually had this thought this morning when I woke up. I was like, this show's starting to get a little bit bigger, and we're streaming live all the time. And I was just like, hey, maybe I should just do Jimmy D's crypto road trip across America. just stop at people's houses and sit outside with them for an hour in a tripod.
I would so watch that show.
That would be great.
That would be awesome.
Just hand up little uplift Alpha Wing brochures or pennants or something that people can put in their Crocs or on their hat.
This is the way, sir.
Yeah,
that would be good.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, who knows, right? What the new is going to be like we were saying with the metaverses and that coming out. I really think. Who knows? I think if something's, like you're saying, Corey, with vaccines and stuff, people getting back to normal, but is that going to be the end all of it, or is something else going to kick up, in 6 months, and then we're right back to square one again, kind of thing?
I mean, it's possible, but shut the fuck up, all right?
but like I was saying, and like Jimmy was just saying, right? Without the Rona, without this thing happening, I don't think we'd be where we are right now with the connections and the relationships and the advancements we've made, right?
Yeah, I completely agree.
It's totally it's totally made you grateful for a bad situation, right? Making the best out of it and making good things out of it, not just the best, right? Trust me, I want things to kind of get back to some normalcy myself. We were on lockdown here in Ontario for it seemed like almost 2 months, I think, and just last Friday they opened up to phase 1. And I was going crazy, not being able to go to like the hardware store and just get a tarp, or being able to go buy some screws. Like, yeah, you can order shit on Amazon and that, but like like there are just like everyday things that you totally take for granted, and when they're gone, and you just feel totally inhibited to not be able to go, just go buy something that you want, like.
Or everyday things that are present that you're not grateful for, that you're not thankful for because you have them, right? Like Japan's a classic case of that. We never got shut down to the extent that you guys did, right? Like they were like, now Osaka's kind of has some problems. So they're kind of like, oh yeah, okay, well, no more alcohol. At restaurants, we're not going to serve it. And we're going to put like a big plastic divider between you when you eat, and we're going to close the restaurants today. But they've never really closed them down. And the best part about it, or the worst part about it, depending upon how you look at it, right? Because it's always life's full of perspective. I took my daughter to a walk in the park the other day, and we were walking past this restaurant, and it was packed full. And I was like, how is that possible? Why are so many people packed into this little tiny hole in the wall eating? It doesn't make any sense. It's a Sunday afternoon at 2. Oh, wait a minute. There's a sign on the wall. They're not serving alcohol, but they're letting people bring in their own.
That's funny.
And I'm like, only in Japan would you get away with something like this,
Nailed
right? Like, and I mean, so like I'm really like appreciative. Like we sometimes we find ourselves in this zone or this headspace whereby we think that everything is just normal and placid and non-interesting. But then when things happen and you actually see, the wizardry behind the curtain, per se, like it can give you a shocker. It can give you a surprise, right? Like you're saying, America's a free country, right? But you can't walk in and buy nails or garden seeds because they've got that part of the world or that part of the store blocked off. But yet, you can walk and maybe pick up some lettuce that somebody coughed on, and that's okay. It doesn't make any sense, right? Like, I don't like. Yeah.
Where does it make sense at all, right? Like they were not letting, they were forcing kids to go to school, but then not letting them hang out after school. They weren't supposed to be able to hang out with your friends after school. You had to go home and stay home. Like, what the fuck's up with that? Like, we were just hanging out all day together. Like,
right.
So weird, right? Like, and I think it's because we haven't had anything like this before. So a lot of the governments, a lot of the people in charge were just kind of fumbling their way through, trying to make it up as they go along, right? So now hopefully we have a bit of of precedence in case something else happens again, right?
The likelihood it's going to be 100 years before anything like this happens again, and we'll probably suck at it then too. Although everything's going to be run by AI then, so maybe not.
Skynet.
Like, I don't like. Well, yeah. No.
I mean, it's interesting though, right? Like, because when structured, centralized governments fumble their way through shit, this is what happens, right? When a bunch of decentralized, crazy people fumble their way through shit, like, look what happens.
I'll tell you,
planet.
Hold on, though. Like, let's be real. If the decentralized people were handling the COVID situation, 1 billion people would have died. Right. So, and again, I'm not saying that math is terrible, but you get the idea, right? Like there are things where centralized systems are better. This is one of them. Even being handled completely and totally, like all the like edge cases where like this doesn't make sense, right? You're trying to balance, kids going to school with kids hanging out, trying to figure out like what's the way to constrain the most contact that we possibly can, while also having a civilization, right? And I don't envy them that. Those are decisions that are hard to make, and because you're making them all at once, you're going to make mistakes for sure. We all would, right? But if
I wasn't necessarily referencing that side of it or that part of it, because like I said, Japan is like a dream compared to what you guys are going through. Like everyone self-regulates, everyone self-masks, everyone. But like from a financial point of view is kind of what I was drawing the symbol to, right? Like I don't really understand how any of the stimulus or any of the things that they put into effect, potentially, I don't know. In my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I think this is going to be the make or break of the modern economy, right? Yeah. I think, but yeah, I don't think you're wrong though. I mean, like in terms of how to stomp it out and how to get it out, right? Like again, here's my problem with it is I just think that like Terry said, no kid should have been going to school. Right? Like there's no reason why like you can't put that money into technology and have everyone learning from home, right? There's no reason why you can't do what like a lot of places in China we're doing where everything is delivered, right? You know, like it still sucks, but I mean, in a way, I was kind of jealous because I'm sure Terry has a huge backyard that at least he can step out into, right?
Very much so, very much my own, and then you know the nature backyard. You know, I'm never more than 10 minutes away from you know some full-on bush or a or a lake or whatever, right? So yeah, it's a beautiful area, and having that nature freedom has been super beneficial.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Super. But during the middle of winter when it was going on, fuck, I was suicidal, man. Like, and no joke. Like, yeah, I don't take mental health I don't take mental health lightly, but it was rough, man. It was a rough fucking winter. Like we have 6 months of winter here, like cold, snow, you know, and you don't want to go outside at the best of times. And you know, being forced to stay inside through all that. And we had a tenant living with us too, an East Indian fella, and he was a great kid, stayed in his room, did his work, you know, he was going to university. He was here for university. But just having all that, like me and my partner and 4 fucking dogs and a tenant and forced to stay in this house. And, you know, now all of a sudden we're all eating at the same time, sleeping at the same time, you know, doing dishes. And, you know, like, it was, you know, you're stepping over each other, right?
Yeah, I lucked out. Like, you know, my wife and I are best friends, and like hanging out with her is not terrible at all. I mean, well, it's great for me because she's awesome. I think she got stressed out hanging out with me because I'm basically a psychotic tornado. But I really feel for the people that you like, because I didn't experience it, right? The people that had to go through that, you know, alone or with, you know, situations that were troubling or whatever. So I got to hang out with Michelle every day. So it's just like, talk about being grateful, right? Well, Michelle and all you freaking yahoos, like that for me, it was like, oh no, don't make me have fun with my friends, right? Like, it's, you know, it's like when I was a kid, they couldn't send me to my room because that's where the books were, and like I was going to go there anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Where do we put them?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
It is, you know, and
anyway,
again, things to be grateful for.
Yeah, exactly. Not giving it was actually kind of going into a direction I was going. Jimmy was talking about the sort of economy and the you know, trying to figure out what the stimulus checks are you know, going to do, and people are worried about inflation or whatever. And I'm fully for UBI, right? And so he's talking about a global financial uplifting pool. Fuck the world. And like that's like, it's what we're doing, right? So like that, you know, newsflash, like that we're playing around in this playground. You know, messing around with the first iterations of this, and you know, turning play into you know, sort of real world potential value, which is super fascinating to us and kind of a core thing that we think about all the time. But yeah, I think that like looking at things like our planet, things like all the other things we're looking at, and studying UBI, universal basic income, for a really, really long time, people are all really, really worried about inflation. And it shouldn't be the amount of money coming in from the front end. It's that you're not burning enough on the back end, right? Like we all know how this works now, right? Like supply for our planet is effectively infinite, and who gives a shit? It doesn't matter. Circulating supply is the only thing that matters. Yeah, you just need to make sure that the more you add inflation, the more you add reasons for people to burn it on the other end. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah, right? Exactly. Totally. Right. And people that are worried about like I'm full on for UBI as well. And people that are worried about that and inflation, or, you know, the cost of it, and that the amount of money you would save on courts, on jails, on recovery homes, on homelessness, like of hospitals, ER, like, you know, coming from a town that has a lot of homelessness and a lot of, you know, addiction and alcoholism issues, I can full on say that a universal basic income would definitely be beneficial. They'd be saving money. They ran a pilot program here a couple years ago, and I have friends that were involved in it, and like, you know, we're able to make significant, huge changes in their lives because of this. And it was supposed to run for 3 years, and then the government switched, and the next government canceled it after a year. So essentially they did that year, and now they've got no real data, no quantifiable data, because they cut it short. They put all these people in really tough positions because they gave them, so now they're used to making this amount of money, getting it every month, and then all of a sudden it was gone like this, and you're getting a third of that now, right?
Yeah.
So
what's really funny too is they did in Canada, they did a UBI thing. I think it was in the late 70s.
Yeah.
Right. And then they actually dug up all this data, because the same thing happened, right? Like they did the study for about a year or whatever, and somebody finally dug up all the data, and it was like the number of hours worked didn't go down at all, except for some moms with kids, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Which is like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
And the healthcare costs went down, which of course in Canada, like we all pay for that collectively. America should try it. It works really well. And like people, spent more money, businesses did better, and like all the reasons we talk about UBI all the time, it all just worked, right? Like it's in Monopoly, you get $200 when you start.
Yeah.
Just do that. Fuck
yeah,
it.
I don't have a problem with you. I don't have a problem with UBI, but I think it needs to go a step further. I think what we need to do, like from an education perspective, is we need to give people UBI, but we should also be giving people food, right? Like or having food that people can obtain themselves, like even if it's freaking apple trees in the park, right? Number one. And number two, we need to start putting extra stimulus money into jobs that can be automated, so that we're not all bored out of our fucking minds, and paying people to do something that we want to do that's interesting, so that we can get back to being creative, so that we can get back to creating incentive models to number one, keep us emotionally happy, and number two, maybe get to space a little bit quicker, because we should have freaking been there already. Right?
So what I'm hearing, Jimmy, is that we shouldn't do UBI. They should just fund and 100x the value that's going through the play and the uplift.
Sure. Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that.
No, don't threaten me with a good time. All right, hey guys, I gotta run. I got a meeting. I gotta get ready for it. Terry, you are an absolute joy. Thank you so much for coming on today, and I'm glad I got to show up myself.
Thanks for having me, guys. It was a pleasure anytime.
And Jimmy, food forests, there's more of them cropping up here in the States all the time, just really, really low level. But I agree. I think that's a next level kind of idea that can just be a thing that we do. So
and home gardening, right? People spend so much money on their front lawns, to make it look pretty and that. I've got 4 garden boxes out on my front lawn and growing vegetables and strawberries. I got strawberries that are almost ripe right now. I'm so looking forward to that.
That's the way.
Why spend hundreds of dollars to make it look pretty when you could grow food, and that's where you get the most sun, right? It blows my mind.
So much better. All right, guys, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, later, Corey. Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I'm totally down with it too. But surprising all around. I mean, like Corey said, there's a lot of connections here that I didn't actually know about, which is quite interesting. And it's funny because when I was in university, I was always outside, right? A lot of people in Thunder Bay are. I'm sure it's changed a lot. It's been almost 20 years. But there were great, rivers, and the university itself had an amazing campus, and lots of forests and places to go kayaking and
mountain climbing, hiking.
Yeah, it's a really different way to live, and I think it's very North American in that sense.
It is. Yeah, and you can drive and be a 10-minute, 15-minute drive from downtown, and basically you're considered living in the bush. You can have a nice piece of property, some acreage and trees, and a creek running through the backyard. I lived in Toronto for a while. I lived in Winnipeg. And man, the big city life, it just wasn't for me. I always ended up coming home because it was, it's just too drab. It's too cold. It's too concrete. I want to be able to just go and be one with nature, right? Because that's where I connect with the universe the best.
100%. Me too. It's actually a little bit tough for me to leave Japan because even though I live in one of the largest cities in the world, it's probably one of the greenest countries in the world.
Yeah.
Like 85%, I think, is mountains and forests.
Yeah.
Right. And so like that concrete jungle that you see all the time, you know, over the media, that's maybe somewhere between 7 and 10%. Right. The rest of it is farmland. And like there's just massive amounts of maybe 75 to 80% of just I'm sure that some of the Nordic countries as well, like Norway, Finland, Canada, like, you know, Canada's probably has less, but it's still quite a big portion.
Right? Yeah, I wonder what it would be, because Canada does have a large portion. Like even where we are, it's an 8-hour drive to the next biggest city, right? To go to Winnipeg or to go down to Minneapolis or something across the border. Like,
yeah, it takes even longer to hitchhike. I did that once from Thunder Bay to PEI, actually. That took a really long time.
That is a long haul.
I probably should have went the other way, to be honest. Probably would have been quicker, but yeah, because I think Thunder Bay is like the midpoint of Canada, if I'm correct.
Pretty, yeah, like, you know, like it's being at the top of Lake Superior, right? Like all traffic has to go through. It's like, yeah, it's the northernmost city that, you know, forces you to go through it, kind of thing. So
yeah, I want to go back to North America though. Like I'm kind of joking about the you know, the show idea, like, you know, Cross America with Jimmy D, but at the same time, like I'm kind of half serious, right? Like I want to go back to Thunder Bay. I want to go, you know, visit people that I met in the States. I want to like just tour around. And how we have that ability. Maybe as a closing off, we can chat about this for a couple minutes, but if you have time. But I think that is the power. My personal belief is that is the power of what we're doing. Like it's crazy. Like
the freedom.
Yeah, and just the fact that like, in a way, this is capitalism at its best, because we're at a point where I'm sorry to say this, but it's kind of true. We're at a point where people are valuing ridiculous things. Like, right? But I mean, like what we didn't realize, that like I think maybe now that some of us might realize, is that like it's maybe less ridiculous than people valuing something like a piece of a note of paper that has a monetary value that is set by someone else. Like that might be even more crazy, right? Like, I mean, at least I can get like an amazing NFT, like Bitcoin Origins, for example, or the Horrors, that has like this amazing artwork, and I can say, look, like I value this because it has art, right? Like, I mean, I've seen pictures of Lincoln and George Washington, and I'm not really a big fan, but I'm pretty sure that like I can find better portraits to hang on my wall than what on those bills, right?
Yeah, no doubt, right? Like it's definitely I think it's definitely showing us a different side of capitalism, like, right, where you can still value things like that, but then you can also learn to value like you're talking about, like the freedom to be able to go and do your own show and make your own money that way. And right, like with technology and the way things are now, and with the crypto space, like it's I don't know, like I've always been a collector. Like, you know, I collected comic books and I collected sports cards and stuff as a kid, and so the transition into this space, to the NFT space, was pretty easy. You know, I understood it. I understood that these things, and then, like I said, being a collector of the other apps without being able to actually own your asset, like if they shut down, you lose them all, right? So with coming into NFTs, it was really an easy transition to learn how to love them all.
To own your asset. Right? Take out a loan and somebody else owns your asset. There's a freedom imbued with this, right? It's crazy. Yeah, and like we know lots of people in the space that have gotten into it and have, you know, done okay or done well. What's your take on like NFTs and what's your take on like NFTs in comparison to the rest of the crypto market? Like, I don't want to lead you, so I'm just going to leave it at that. I have my own idea, but I'll say it later.
Okay. So, yeah, like I think people that say that NFTs are a bubble and it's, it's going to pop, they're going to go away are dead wrong. They're not going to go away. The super expensive, $50 million, $70 million NFT painting or whatchamacallit, those punks, that's going to go away probably, right? People are going to start to realize that, like you said, they want to buy something that they appreciate because they like it, because it has utility, right? NFTs are going to grow into something so much more than just what they are now. Right now, they're considered basically just a collectible, right? But our next step is going to be NFTs that are all the assets and all the video games you play where you can trade and sell and And then from there, it's going to grow, they're growing into finance where you're going to take out a loan and it's going to be an NFT. You're going to take out a mortgage and it's going to be an NFT, right? And it's property rights, like, your ownership of your car could be an NFT, and you pull it up and there it is. And you want to transfer it. I sold you my car. Here you go. I'll transfer you over the NFT, right? Like they're not going to go away, and they are. I would say they're pegged to the cryptos, like to regular crypto space. What's going on because they're going to grow with crypto. As crypto becomes more mainstream, NFTs are going to become more mainstream.
It's interesting because I know I should talk, but I want to say my piece. It's interesting because I find I'm looking at the markets now, and we're kind of back, correcting back upwards. It kind of seems now, but I noticed that especially on Wax, even the token took a bit of a dip. The NFTs really seem to hold their value in comparison to a lot of other things, which I thought was really interesting. And I got thinking about it, philosophically in ways that I do that are bizarre to other people. But I as a permaculturalist, I always thought one of the great things about nature is that there is no garbage, right? Garbage doesn't exist,
right.
Everything is food for something else, right? Yeah. Like garbage is a human condition. Like we produce it, we create it with our plastics or with our overuse or manipulation of what is natural, beyond what we clean up. And I always thought one of the biggest things, if the world were just to implode and all the walls were to crack, what would be floating around on the streets, littering the natural environment more than all the banknotes, all the money, right? And we've seen it, we've actually seen it in places like Venezuela or places like Africa where there's been this massive hyperinflation, right? And and that's it's crazy just to think that all of that money is garbage. And I've often thought why the hell, why would I take 100 wheelbarrows full of 100 whatever notes and try to trade them in for a loaf of bread when I've got 2 chickens and a freaking cow, right? Right? Why wouldn't I trade by by one of my chickens and some milk for half of somebody's pig or something like that, right?
Right.
And what's interesting when I see things like Our Planet popping up, right? Or some of these other projects in the space as well, is now we've defecated all over traditional finance, essentially, right? We've taken these hard world real assets, and we've basically put them into this DeFi, mechanical whatever, machine.
Our planet did it best, right? Gold is 4 shits.
Right.
Hated on it, man.
Yeah, and it's beautiful if you think about it, right? Because you have all of these, real tangible things in the on the blockchain. And what's more real than something that's on the blockchain that can never be can never be destroyed, right? Essentially, yeah. It can never be destroyed. And
that's why I always send people funny messages when I do a transfer or something, because I'm oh, it's on the blockchain now, so thanks, honey, for the good time, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I live in a country that's still using like a wooden stamp to stamp your thing, right? And like, my friends in America are saying it's so easy to copy a signature. I'm like, it's not. And like compared to like using a wooden stamp to stamp like your little ink thing, right? Yeah. But like that's the thing, right? Sign every single transaction on the blockchain. Make it so that everyone has to sign, on the blockchain. And that's a like, I mean, how's that for like pricking your finger with like a needle and like bonding yourselves in blood or something like that.
Yeah,
right? Like, these politicians aren't going to be able to get away with what they get away with. These companies aren't going to be able to get away with what they get away with, right? There's going to be like a record of productivity versus waste and disposal. Like if we do it right, if we get it right.
Yeah, that's why they're all scrambling. Like, they try to, it's so funny. Like I get the news feed on my phone, and because you search, something crypto once, you get all these freaking highlights of everything crypto in the news, right? So you get the politicians in that 1 week, they're flooding Bitcoin and crypto. Oh, it's going to crash. It's going to take down this. And then the next week they're praising it, oh yeah, it's the savior. It's going to save humanity. Like, it's just so, it's so ridiculous, right? But I think, like you said, if we just stick to our guns and stick to what we know is right, which is trustless system that is all identifiable online. Like blockchain is what internet was in the early 90s, right? And it's just gonna keep growing, and it's great to be a part of it, and something that's hopefully going to be beneficial and better the world.
And for people who are even half good at finance, I mean, DeFi is the place you want to be. You're going to make a killing. And for people who are like interested in proprietary rights and like not getting taken advantage of, and having that ability to create something that there's a gray area there as well, right? But like having that ability to create something that's not taken away from you. To have it stamped without having to go through a copyright office and have somebody else tell you that, oh yeah, you created that, right? Like to have that proof of authenticity and ownership. I think that's where we're really where we're looking at. And I've actually personally been drawn, much like you, into this deeper depths of the rabbit hole, right? Per se. Like I still have a portfolio. I still look at it now and again, but I'm like, I don't really need that money right now, and I don't really want to pay like taxes on those transactions. So fuck it, I'm just gonna let it sit there and play with NFTs, right? Like that's
exactly, man. Exactly.
What, you gonna sue me for my baseball trading cards? I'm only 9.
Yeah, no. You can't have the Mike Trout, though. No Mike Trout.
Yeah. Well, please come back. I should probably let you go because I know you got a busy day. But yeah, please come back anytime, Terry. And
for sure, Jimmy. I really enjoy it. I enjoy chatting with you. Corey can get a little over the top there sometimes, so it's nice to have the just me and you chat.
That's hilarious. I really miss Corey. It's funny because like you said, like Corey and I, we really jive together really well, but it's been almost 2 weeks now since we shared the stream on a regular basis, and I know like I see myself like cutting him off a lot more than normal. Right, like I cut people off in general, but like I'm like, damn it, I cut him off like 80% more than I normally would. Like,
because you're so used to it, but it doesn't make it a bad thing, right? It just means that like you're voicing up your opinion more, man, which is great.
Yeah, I need him back for 2 or 3 days so we can find our drive again. But we'll get there. We'll have fun.
Exactly. It's just finding that balance.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for coming. I'll give you the chop now, Cinderella Man, and then thanks for the reminder of that other NFT project, Lumia. I've been meaning to check them out for a while. So, but yeah, like check out Our Planet if you haven't. Check out Ultra Rare and the Horrors. Like that's an awesome team. Really like those guys. Look out for the latest NFT series that will probably be coming sometime the end of the summer. Entitled Bonds and Terry on the Road to Ukraine.